I had a patient that came to me one day and we were talking about overdoses, and she said, Miss Maya, I'm not the lucky one. The ones that have overdosed and no longer here, they're the lucky ones because they're not suffering anymore. Hello and welcome. You are watching Beyond Ordinary with your host, Maya Spella Cullins. And I have Mr. Dr. Wrighten here with me on today. And he is coming to tell us a lot of information that I know that you want to hear as it pertains to talking about this opioid crisis that is actually not just in the state of Georgia, it's an international global issue that we need to discuss. We want to bring awareness to it, and I am so honored for you to be on the show today. Thanks for coming and being here with us and the audience, because I'm sure you have a lot of information to share.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to tune in, because I'm in your presence and I thank you so much, is tell me a little bit about the opioid issues that you're seeing in particular in the state, in Georgia, in the state of Georgia.
Well, some of the challenges are, our hope is that we can get people access to care, and make sure that they can find places to get the treatment,
Right.
and even expand our network. And so some of the challenges is just being able to get the information out there,
Right.
so that people know how to find help and find access to it,
Right.
when they really need to. So that's one of the things that we're really dealing with, here in Georgia, and of course the overdose.
Yeah, it's
redress.
everywhere. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just in the state of Georgia, and because your role is so so profound, and I'm saying that because you go out to various places and you educate and you tell people about what they can do and how they can gain access. Tell our audience today, if you will, how could they find the type of help that they need if they have a family member or maybe even themselves that's struggling with the opioid issue. What can they do as individuals to seek treatment?
Well, the Department of Behavioral Health, we partnered with several community partners, and one of our key community partners as far as reaching help and getting coaching is the Georgia Council of Substance Use, and we do and what we do there is we they have a warm line that we set up, and we use funds to provide for, so
Right.
individuals can go to call Georgia Council or go to the Georgia Council of Substance Abuse website and look up that warm line number,
Right.
and they can call that warm line. They have access to a peer,
Right.
a recovery coach who's there 24/7 to respond to any needs that family members have.
Right.
And then we also have the Georgia Crisis and Access Line in the state of Georgia
Right.
that people can get access to that information that the Department of Behavioral Health has. So
Wow, and that's
vital
phenomenal.
stuff.
That's
Yes.
phenomenal. And one of the key things, when I was looking over everything that you do and what DBHDD stand for, that really hit home for me is because a lot of people have stigmas, and I sometimes say, no, methadone, Suboxone, all the different treatments that the state stands behind and they're fighting. And I know firsthand, because I work with a lot of those patients, if it wasn't for the treatment that you guys offer, if it wasn't for the services that you guys provide, a lot of people would be dead. So what could you speak to someone that could be watching and say, I don't agree with certain type of treatment? Can you talk about the treatment, and can you also address the stigmas that's attached?
Well, yes, I'd love to talk. That's a great question, Maya. And so one of the things that are I went to a conference one time, and they were saying that medication assisted treatment, which is the use of medications such as Suboxone, buprenorphine, naltrexone,
Yes.
methadone. These are the 4 medications that are used and approved by the FDA,
Right.
to provide treatment for individuals with opioid use disorder.
Yes.
Well, they were saying that that's the gold standard, and I'm not going to say the gold standard because it is a gold standard.
Right.
In other words, it's an evidence-based approach that has proven to have results, but there are many pathways to recovery, and so some programs, are abstinence-based programs, and that's still effective. But the medication-assisted recovery or medication-supported recovery programs are just as effective, if not more effective,
Right.
when dealing with people with opioid use disorders.
Right.
And I really need people to understand that, whether you don't agree with it or not, but addiction is a brain disease,
Right.
and it's a chronic, progressive, it's potentially fatal. It's a disease that just like any other disease of the brain, and so it has to be treated as such. And if we're
Right.
talking about it that way, we need to look at it that way.
That's
So,
right.
And so the stigma is something that's been internalized. It's not a moral failure. It's a brain disease.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that because we so often, when you look at diabetes and you look at heart disease, a lot of people are more perceptive because, okay, that's a disease. That's a real clear defined disease. But when it comes to addiction, it's like, well, they can just get over it. What can you say to the people that lack knowledge and don't understand? How could they find information to gain more information on how they can help not only educate themselves, but educate maybe family members or someone that's suffering?
Well, we do trainings throughout the state.
Okay.
And we provide information all over. And we've trained, at this point, we've trained every system that we could possibly
Wow.
train to address some of those issues. In like even with Department of Children and Family Services, we've educated that system. Department of Community Supervision, Department of Corrections,
Wow.
Department of Public Health. We've just gone full blast to educate every system, the hospital, judges,
Right.
and all the way up to the Attorney Generals.
Right.
We have worked to educate every system that we could possibly educate about how to do this. Even now, the faith community,
Wow.
with that initiative,
The leaders in the community, yes,
the
yes,
leaders
yes.
in the community is launching on November the 5th. We will launch that first initiative with them to understand this whole thing about the stigma, understand recovery and how people recover. The other thing that we've done in the Department of Behavioral Health is we've launched this huge initiative, never done before, right? Is people always focus on the fact that people don't recover,
Right.
but we've launched a billboard. Georgia Recovers
Oh, wow.
campaign.
That's
and so
amazing.
people who are in recovery have put their faces out there to
Yeah.
say we do recover
Yes.
and we do get better.
Yes,
That
yes.
is essential.
Yes, yes.
So that's something pretty important.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can get trained. We train and we do it all the time. And all the training that we do in the state is free training.
Oh yeah, and I want to say, if you don't know what Dr. Vaughn just said, it was a powerful message, because before, a lot of people that struggle with addiction, they stay behind the scene. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want you to see their face.
That's right.
And now with DBHED, people like Dr. Vaughn and educating the community, bringing it together, people are saying, okay, I got people standing for me.
That's right.
And now it's a domino effect where lives are actually being changed. And I don't know, this is something that is new to me, because the opioid epidemic, it came by a storm, and it affected so many people. And so many, I know you probably know the exact statistics of the deaths that contribute to
Yes.
opioid disorders,
Yes.
misuse, as I would say. So with knowing that one of the leading causes of death, we have to do our part. And with you saying partner with the community, what would be one of the things that you would like to see with the community coming together? If somebody's watching and saying, hey, I'm a school teacher, or I'm a doctor, you haven't touched me yet, but I'm here. Why do you feel that those individuals should connect? And what are you going to do with like what you're doing now, obviously? What way can they connect to you so they can stand? Because we need more people in the community standing with you.
Well, I'm available, and my team is available. I want to say this. Do you know what? I work with an amazing group of people, and when I say amazing, I'm talking about they're compassionate, they're courageous, they're dynamic, they're brilliant, and so from my commissioner to the director of behavioral health to the director of my office,
Right.
and we are all available to connect. And so you can call us at any time in the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities to the Office of Addictive Diseases. We are more than ready, and we stand more than ready to respond and to connect. Yes.
Well, I will tell you, we're going to take a quick break, but before we take a break, make sure that you go on DBHCD website. All the information that is accessible, it's all accessible to you. If you're looking for a provider, if you want to know more information, Dr. Vaughn is always available to be able to lend a helping hand, to give encouraging words. And not only just that, him and his phenomenal team have so many different things throughout the year that you can tap into. So we're going to be right back. We're going to dig into more of what opioid issues, misuse is, and how you can play a part. So just stay tuned. Hold your seats. We'll be right back.
what we've done, particularly in the Department of Behavioral Health, is we've gone from actually just two state contracted providers, MAT providers, to actually 21
Wow.
state contract providers since 2016 to now.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Ordinary. I am your host, Maya Spella Cullins, and I still have Mr. Dr. Vaughn here. And we're talking about an issue that is so prevalent in our communities. And one of the questions I have, some questions have came in, and I wanted to know, the audience want to know, what communities are mostly impacted by this epidemic?
Well, when you say communities, we're talking about, I think that the rural areas have been most impacted, right now at this time, because sometimes the access to services are challenged, and also there's a lot of economic pain
Right.
in those areas, and of course, when you talk about an opiate, it's really about addressing hidden pain.
Right. Right,
And
right.
so this is a pain disorder. Even addiction really is a pain disorder, but this really is a pain disorder. And so people
Right.
started with the pain pills,
Right.
So it's, I think the rural areas are really been areas that have been hit. But at the same time, we've got some areas in pockets of the city of Atlanta where, the issue has been around for quite some time.
Right.
But nevertheless, the rural areas of our city, of our state, and even of our nation, I think the rural areas have been, most impacted.
Mostly impacted. So when it comes to that, and we know that sometimes in certain areas resources are limited, what is DBHCD doing to educate and bring more people in the door so they can be providers of excellence to be able to provide services to the individuals that are suffering?
That's an excellent question. What we've done, particularly in the Department of Behavioral Health, is we've gone from actually just two state contracted providers, MAT providers, to actually 21
Wow.
state contract providers since 2016 to now.
Oh, wow.
Since we've gotten the state opioid response grant and the state targeted response grant, we've
That's new to
actually
me.
increased. Yes, we've actually been able to increase that. So we've increased access across the state, and by working with doctors, and we've also increased their access to office-based care in some level as well. So
Right.
we've been doing a great, and then training all of those providers throughout the state, not just DFACS or the Department of Public Health, but also our providers, and making sure that they're doing extraordinary work
Right.
in some really evidence-based practice work,
Right.
with these individuals, not just ordinary, you're getting medication and you're getting, the psychological treatment and all the other behavioral treatments with this.
Right.
But there are more things that we've done to expand beyond that.
Right.
They're really exciting.
Yes,
and,
yes.
and I've a couple of my providers right now are doing some great work, with motivational incentives and things like that
Yes.
are really touching
Yes.
the lives of the people that we're working with.
Yes, and I read up on a lot of that and did obviously some of the training, and that is one of the most rewarding things that you can do. And I want to make sure it's communicated correctly to the individuals that are watching. DBHCD has implemented not only training, education, services, and funding to help individuals that are struggling. So, and I won't even say struggling, just individuals that are facing and battling the disease of addiction. This is not the end. And this is actually the beginning of what you guys are doing, because it's been around for years. But this is the beginning that you guys are doing and actually taking the lead and saying, I'm standing with you. So with knowing that, if somebody is watching and they say, hey, I have an interest to possibly be a provider, because there's only 21 providers, which is still a great number, because that's a significant number when you look over the years of how many providers you initially had. How many people are struggling? I guess if I was watching, I want to know, the audience want to know, how many people in the state of Georgia that are facing this particular epidemic?
Well, the numbers are different. But when we look at the nationally, you got 53 million people
Yes.
in the nation that are doing it, that are wrestling with this, and with this disease called addiction.
Right.
And then there's a whole group of those people, or those numbers, that are not even getting services,
Yes.
that are not accessing the treatment, that don't even know about it. So that's sort of where we are, and it's kind of hard to pin down the numbers,
Right.
Specifically in the state of
Well,
Georgia.
that
But I
speaks
know
volume anyway. 53
yes,
million people.
53 million in the state.
Yeah.
But there are actually, over 14,000 of these individuals here, like that I can tell you for certain, that are on medication supported recovery.
Right.
In the state.
Right.
That-
And I know that you guys, DBHDD, have, and I want you to explain why is it called MAT? Okay. And I'm saying that because obviously, for many reasons. Because a lot of times if people don't have the knowledge, they think, well, you just go get the meds, you go home.
Right.
But how the structure
Right.
that DBHDD has set up, and the rules and the standards that you have the providers that are implementing this service, is not just you go get medicine, go home. And so it takes away the stigma of you trading one drug from another.
That's right.
And that is not the case. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I worked tirelessly to rebrand the whole thought process behind this in my office. So as a state opioid treatment authority, I've been tasked with some of this work to do, and that's what I love about my team, is to go do it, Vaughn. I gonna have a good time doing it, right? And so we wanted to change this from people just saying you get methadone treatment, and the old thought behind that was people, like you said, Maya, where they go get medicine and then they go on. My goal is for people to understand that the medication is not the treatment. Medication is there to support this individual in his or her recovery.
Oh, yeah.
So it eliminates the cravings and the criminal activity that may go along with this. It eliminates that need for it. But it gives the person some time to really think and get their head clear enough so that they can get some treatment.
Right.
And treatment involves the behavioral health and other evidence-based practices, not just kind of a shooting from the hip thing.
Right.
But this thing where you're getting counseling that's individualized and curtailed and right to what you need.
Right.
And so that's real important
Right.
for people to know. So it's not methadone, it's medication assisted treatment. Medication is not the treatment. Medication is to assist in
the treatment. Right.
So we rebranded that whole thing. So just so we can get that clear understanding, and not only here in the state, but now that's a brand that's across.
It's across the nation. Yeah,
it's nationwide.
Most definitely.
And sometimes the people in recovery want us to say medication supported recovery, and I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that too.
But the key is not just medication.
It is not just medication.
Yeah. And it's work that has to be done behind that.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a little small break right now, but we will be definitely right back. Don't leave, because this is something that you need to know. This is an opportunity for you to gain the knowledge and wisdom and be able to share it not only for yourself but to others around you. Because as we know, you're not affected just by the skin color. It's not a particular skin color. It's not a particular background or ethnic group.
Right.
It can be your next door neighbor. It can be, as we say, your husband, your wife. It could be a wide range of people. It could even be you. So we don't judge. We have no judgment zone here. We're talking because we want to make sure that you get the help that you need. We'll be right back. So stay tuned.
In 2017, when we started this storm of ours with this crisis, in 2017, 72,000 people nationwide overdosed on opioid overdose. And in Georgia, 1,600, a little over 1,600 in that same year. And while we say that this thing hasn't slowed down. It is important to me today to get out to the state of Georgia, the importance of addressing this opioid crisis. The Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, we have worked tirelessly to make sure that citizens all over the state of Georgia in 159 counties are able to receive services to respond to this opioid crisis. In 2017, 72,000 people in our nation died of opioid overdose. And in 2017, 1,600 of those people were here in Georgia. And the disease has not slowed down. The issue has not slowed down. Although we've worked tirelessly to put a dent in this process, we know that it is so important that people get access to care, to find easy access to care, to high quality services in the state of Georgia. So it is important to us for you to know how to respond, to be able to reverse overdoses. It's important for us, for systems in the state of Georgia, to be able to respond appropriately. It's important for people to be able to not feel stigmatized by the disease, and be able to ask for help and find help and reach out for help, and families to be able to reach out for help and know how to get help in the state of Georgia. So this is what I really want to happen today, is by getting this information out to you all, what DBHDD is doing in the state of Georgia, how we're working tirelessly to serve you, is something that's very important for you to know in Georgia.
For more updates on the show, for more episodes, and to find out more about me, please make sure you log in to beyondordinary.tv. Hello and welcome back. Again, I am here with Dr. Vaughn. We are addressing an important topic that you need to know about. One of the things that I wanted to know, what is the statistics and numbers as it relates to overdoses?
Well, in 2017, when we started this storm of ours with this crisis, in 2017, 72,000 people nationwide overdosed on opioid overdose. And in Georgia, 1,600, a little over 1,600 in that same year. And while we say that this thing hasn't slowed down, you know, but we're doing our great work. And also, between the time we started getting funding, we've done over 1,400 self-reported reversals in the state.
You said 1,400?
1,400 reverses. You know, so overdose reversals, but people have been getting the Narcan treatment, and Narcan, you know, the overdose reversal drug. And so we've trained first responders in the state to actually respond to that as well. So those are those numbers, but we are doing a tremendous amount of work. We have two key partners to train people to do that. We have the Atlanta Harm Reduction and the Georgia Overdose Prevention Project, and they're training all kinds of organizations and first responders and citizens. I think we've trained about 9,000 citizens already in the state to even administer the Narcan kits.
Right. So if it's somebody watching, how can they get involved?
Well, I tell you this, you can also join that, you know, go on and look at Georgia Overdose Prevention Project, look up Atlanta Harm Reduction, and you can find that. If you need help, you can call the warm line in the state of Georgia. It's 844-326-5400. And that's the Georgia Council warm line, where we have that 24/7, where they respond to people, their recovery coaches there. And if you really need it, if somebody, your family member needs treatment, and you really need that, you feel free to call our office, 404-657-2331. 404-657-2331. That's the Office of Addictive Diseases. And we're more than happy to be able to help.
Y'all are doing a phenomenal job. And I commend you, because this is not something that's going to end tomorrow. This is a fight that will continue. And I'm so glad that you guys are doing your part to help in that. One of the things I wanted to share with you, I had a patient that came to me one day and we were talking about overdoses, and she said, "Miss Maya, I'm not the lucky one." And I said, "What do you mean you're not the lucky one?" She said, "The ones that have overdosed and no longer here, they're the lucky ones." And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "Because they're not suffering anymore. Nobody is judging them. Nobody can, you know, they don't have to hide in shame. They don't have to worry about the life of the I guess the world." And I said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Explain to me." She said, "Miss Maya, my family, you know, they feel like I can just stop. They judge me. They look down on me. You know," she said, I was pregnant one time and in treatment, and I had struggles with my baby potentially being taken away from me.
Yes.
And we see that so often.
Yes.
And I said, and she said, "But I was only trying to get help." And this is the message that I want to deliver and educate, is because statistics shows, and you can probably vouch as well, with treatment, it's just like having diabetes. It's always side effects to things that you take, right?
That's correct.
But with treatment, what is the best treatment that will save a life? It's kind of like you can pick and choose, but if you have a treatment that's accessible and available to you, that is going to decrease criminal activity.
That's correct.
If it's going to decrease the spread of hepatitis.
That's right.
If it's going to decrease HIV. Do you see
right.
what I'm saying?
It's valuable.
It's valuable. So when you know this, why not try an alternative where it's being medically monitored? I want to make sure I throw that in there because
Yes.
a lot of people don't have the knowledge and they think that, okay, they just have a clinic over here and they just give it medicine.
Yes.
Understand that it is being medically monitored, not even medically monitored, it's being state regulated and monitored.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a service that's so vital that you have to tap into it. And if you're not suffering from it, but you know individuals that are, or better yet, if you just hear the stories of the overdose numbers. And what was the rate in the state of Georgia?
We had 1,600.
1,600.
Over 1,600.
Over 1,600. And that enough that if you have to pick up the phone and reach out to Dr. Vaughn and say, hey, I'm a community leader, I want to take a stand with you. This is a fight that is not going to end today. It's not going to end tomorrow, but we need your help. And one of the major things before we close out, and I'm going to let Dr. Vaughn tell you how you can reach him, understand that DBHED has facilities that address the issues that we're having with the opioid crisis. Not only that, they have psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, clinicians, certified substance abuse counselors. They have a wide range of individuals that come to play their part in ending this issue that we're addressing. So just know that not by a long shot, we don't judge you. Just know that we are here because we care. And understand that DBHED is doing their part most definitely to
That's our role.
Educate and to spread the word.
our
So before we leave, I want you to give the audience your contact information, how they can reach you again, and what website if they want to know more about how they can get help for themselves or family members. Where do they go?
Okay, so again, 404-657-2331. That's our office number in the Office of Addictive Diseases. But you can also go in the Department of DBHDD, Department of Behavioral Health, Developmental Disabilities on our website. It's dbhdd.ga.gov on our website, and go find .org. Go find us there. We are there, and we're public servants. But we're public servants who are passionate, courageous, and we really believe in you. And while hope is not a strategy, hope is certainly a skill that we hope that you all will have and reach out for. It's not we want you to have hoping skills. And if you anchor yourself in hope, family, I think that you'll be able to make it. It's better to be able to save a life than lose one. And that's our goal. Thank you.
Thank y'all for watching. That's it for today. Make sure you stay connected and stay tuned. I am your host, Maya Spella Collins. Follow us on BeyondOrdinary.tv. Be blessed.